Y'all should be ready for magic.
Cursebreaker. You get caught up in the...
Some guy just being like, sometime in the future. And Cursebreaker also takes place at some time.
I think lore-wise, it does kind of like... Because Relicblade doesn't have like a strict timeline of when you're playing, but this takes place quite a bit after like the events of the Volglands campaign. It's later after the Moldorfs have come, and then like some decades or maybe even a century has passed. The books of magic have been written. It takes place after storms. It's definitely at least 100 years after the main Relicblade stuff. Okay, so we're set up to play Cursebreaker. I have created my magician. Pre-game of Cursebreaker is creating your magician, and before the scenario, you choose which books of lore you're bringing with you. That sort of dictates your build and play style. Wizard Sean here with you can use any miniature you want, so I have a little custom Sean wizard. And I'm bringing for this scenario the Book of Burning and the Book of Oceans. On these cards, whatever spells you bring sort of dictates what miniatures you'll end up needing. And so because this Book of Burning includes the Wall of Flames and a fire elemental, I've grabbed those. And water elemental, Great Wave, and High Tide are the things that happen in this. So I've got those. The product range for Cursebreaker will include these tokens, but miniatures for your elementals and stuff is up to your collection to accommodate. And then I have one champion with me. It is a rogue. I've hired a rogue, and he has 3 dice that are just his own. They aren't power dice. And for my power dice allocations, I put 2 into fire and 3 into oceans because I start with 5 available dice, and you have to assign at least 1 to each book you bring, and all of your dice have to be assigned to a specific lore. So that's my character for this mission.
Nice. On the other end, your magician feels real arcane, where I have 3 spell books that I've allocated my 5 dice, 2 dice to the Book of Mountains, 2 dice to the Book of Nature, and 1 dice to the Book of Storms. Now, unlike Sean, to a degree, I've chosen my books just based purely off of flavor and what I thought would be the type of spells or a spell book that my particular magician would just be rocking with. This is like his specialty. Because the Book of Nature has the Wild Guardian on the 5. I've got a Cave Bear here to be my overpowered version, and a cool Sabertooth to be my regular. The result of 3 on Book of Mountains is a Stone Spire, so I've got a Stone Spire here. And the result of 5 on Book of Storms is the Storm Heron. So we've got a Storm Heron here, and I've got a cool token for my Storm Saber, which is the result of 3. And then to help me on my adventure, I've got a cool Scout, which also has 3 dice. Different things than Sean's Rogue. I'm using this cool Pathfinder miniature.
Let's talk about scenario. So pre-game, we chose our magicians. We are on the 3rd mission of the campaign. It is called Basilisk Graveyard. Setup is place 2 cursed objects 6 inches away from the center of the play area and directly toward opposing corners, then place a treasure in the middle. So this terrain, we just are using the basic terrain setup we have for Relicblade. But the important thing is there's a treasure in the middle and 2 basilisk skulls in play, and they're 6 inches toward opposing corners. That is setup, and then deployment will deploy an initiative order along any board edge and 10 inches away from any other magician. So deployment is open to board edge. In Cursebreaker, the objectives are cursed objects, and the reason we are here is to grow more powerful, test ourselves, break the curses in the Shattered Lands, learn more about the Shattered Lands. All of those things are really appealing to a magician. And this location is defined by the decaying corpses of arcane basilisks. The basilisk skull is the cursed object, and cursed objects have 2 power dice each. I'm going to quickly grab 2 black dice, and I'm going to place them next to the skulls. those are power dice that are on the board and available for us to steal and grow more powerful. And if you steal both of the power dice off of a cursed object, the curse is broken and it becomes treasure. And who doesn't want treasure? The two things it can do there are when you roll power dice on cursed objects, they're rolled as a d3. One is a normal shifting power, which means it's available to be stolen or harvested. A 2 is a curse, which is like a spell that the object uses to target something. In this case, it targets the nearest enemy, and it deals 1 damage and 1 bind. And then a 3 is a summoning die, and that will summon a basilisk. Only 1 basilisk can be in play at a time, and they are pretty strong and dangerous. The treasures in this are on a 1 to 3, it's a cosmic essence, and on a 4 to 6, it's a basilisk cloak. So there's quite a bit of treasure available in this scenario. You start with 10 endurance. So I'm
10
using
endurance.
2d10s to mark the amount. You can
I am
increase
also.
beyond 10.
You can go up.
So that's why I'm using 2 dice instead of just 1 die. In order to determine initiative, we start with the power phase where we roll all of our dice. So I'm going to roll my dice real quick. And then after you roll your dice, you align them next to the spell book showing the result that was rolled. And that way you know exactly what spells you have available.
Very nice. All right, so I'm going to drop them all in here. I'm going to highlight them all and press R a bunch. Let's go. I'm using my magic. Ooh, okay. Okay.
Lots of ones. That's good.
All right, so I will put my 2 1s over here on my shifting power mountains. I'll put another 1 here on my nature and a 5 on my nature. And then a CX on my Book of Storms. All right.
Okay, so initiative is determined by the player with the lowest number of dice. Then the next is the most 1s, and then the most 2s, then the most 3s, then the most 4s.
Okay.
So in this case, since we both have 5, you have initiative because you have more 1s than I do.
All righty.
So it's clean. Now the next thing that we have to do before you deploy is we need to roll these cursed object dice, and these are rolled as d3s.
All right, I'm gonna roll them. All right, I got a 1 and a 2.
I got a 3 and a 2 on this one over here. We place them there, and the reason that's important is during the curse phase. So we know during the curse phase exactly what spells will be cast and exactly what monsters will be summoned. And part of that is the representation of the fact that we are powerful sorcerers. So the way we see the world is quite different than the way a barbarian sees the world. So like a knight will run in and see a tactical situation, whereas we as wizards are seeing more of a strategic 10 steps ahead type of thing. Yeah, so you deploy touching any board edge, and your champion deploys touching you.
Interesting. I didn't know we were that close.
In your personal space.
Boink.
There you go. I want to harass you, basically.
Okay.
It looks like I'm 12 inches away. All right, perfect. I think that means we are ready. We are now at the alternate activations. And so you get to activate.
All right. So during my activation, because I have initiative, I get to move, and I can then cast 2 spells. Is it always move first, cast 2 spells?
No, you can do it in any order. So you can cast a spell, then move, then cast a spell.
Cool.
Or whatever, yeah. But you can't move part of your move, cast a spell, then move the rest of your move.
I'm going to do my movement first. And Malev the Word Weaver can move 5 inches. He's going to move not exactly 5 inches. He'll go like there. Line of sight, how does that work? Would it be true line of sight? Do we draw from corners?
You draw from any part of your base to the center of the opponent's base.
Well, then I should be good there with that. And also measuring within 4 inches. My second action, I will cast my Book of Mountains, Shifting Power Harvest. And so I'll just remove this off of my card. I have spent that. And then I will take this dice.
Yep.
Schwam. And immediately I take this, and then it becomes a new power dice for me.
Into your spent dice.
I put it into my spent dice, but do I allocate it to a spell book at this time?
At the end of the round,
Okay, cool.
so you don't have to worry about where you're putting it yet.
Cool. I'll just do that. I'll put this on over here. And then for my second action, now overpower, it says combine to apply OP effect. Is that a separate spell action of my
You
one spell?
combine them, so
Okay.
it only counts as one
That.
spell for your activation. For example, you would combine the 6 with
And
the
the
5
5.
to create,
A big wild
instead
guardian.
of just a beast, you'd create a great beast.
A great beast on a 40 millimeter. And that's exactly what we will do. I will spend my 6 here. Shwang. And I will overpower. Use the OP effect on my Wild Guardian 5 result to make a great beast within 4 inches. Boom, like so. And now I got a big bear who's next to the Basilisk skull. And I know that Basilisk skull is going to do an insect swarm. And that being the case, it's going to target the nearest creature, person, or whatever. Right now I know that he is going to be the target, but based on the way that things are activating, because I'll get to move him, there could be a possibility that he isn't the closest. And yeah, because this game's all about knowing what's going to happen.
And you've moved, so it's my turn.
It is your turn.
Okay, I am going to start by moving 5 inches. And then I'm going to cast Wall of Flames. That's how I want it, because I want your bear touching it, and I want it blocking that corridor. And then for my second spell, I think I'm going to do... Heck, I'll just overpower a fire elemental. And that's 2 spells, so it's your turn.
Alrighty.
So one thing that I will remind you, because you probably haven't played in a while, those shifting power dice like want to leave you. If they're active at the end of this round, then they'll leave. They'll move. Yeah, they'll move to the nearest cursed object. You'll probably end up wanting to spend both of those, and you can spend them to deal 1 damage.
Does this Wall of Flame block line of sight?
No.
I think I will do a move.
I'm gonna move my guy so we get looking at each other.
Oh, it's like exactly. Okay.
Gotta love pre-measuring. A wizard pre-measures.
Yes.
In my
A
mind.
wizard pre-measures. Wizard pre-measures precisely when they mean to. Because I have to use my shifting power dice to sort of recap that. Rolling ones is good in a sense that that's how you harvest more dice in general.
Yep. Yeah,
but
because like you're winning right now because you have that.
I have an extra dice, but there's a little bit of a risk reward there because the more dice that you get, the more likely you are to roll ones. And if you roll ones that you can't spend during your turn when doing those spells, those shifting power dice will escape you. And those will go automatically to the nearest cursed object or the nearest magician.
Basically, like magic is like flowing very freely and strongly in this realm. And so when it's a 1, it's trying to move on. And the reason the curses are so strong here is because those objects are like little lock boxes or repositories where the magic that's trying to wander freely gets trapped and then is manifests with the hate that's trapped in those objects. Thematically, we as Cursebreakers are able to draw the magic out, but also, you know, if you were wandering through and you didn't know what you were doing, all of your life force would drain into a cursed object and then you'd be a little mummy.
All right, so I'm gonna do my first spell. I did my move. Okay. I'm going to cast my shifting power of nature, which this is going to look like a blast of like tree leaves. It is range 6, so I already measured. It is, so instead of shifting power to harvest, I'm casting arcane bolt, which is range 6, deal 1 point of damage. So my guy just zaps you, and your endurance is reduced by 1. But then, not to be outdone, his second spell is going to be Book of Mountains Arcane Bolt, which is going to look like cool rocks. And it hits you again, so your endurance is now 8, and then that will end my turn.
A water elemental and a great wave available. I'm going to move all the way here for 5 inches and run around this corner. And then I know a Basilisk is going to pop here, so I'm going to spend my Water Elemental. And I've got one more spell available. I could do Great Wave, which creates blocking terrain, but I'm going to put it up here. Great
2.
Wave is term 2, and it's blocking rough 2. So blocking means that if you're touching it, so it's like area cover for line of sight blocking. Rough 2 means that if at any point of your move you touch it, your speed is reduced by 2.
Alrighty. That is our power phase. Now we're going into the champion phase.
We didn't roll these. We need to roll our action dice.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that now then. Just like the magicians have to roll their power dice to see what actions are available, your champions have to do the same.
And they activate in initiative order.
Okay.
So since you have initiative, your scout activates first.
Run
And you can, in the same way, move and perform 2 actions.
You don't want to roll 1s for your champions because then they don't get to use those actions. It's the same thing. Move 2 actions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in any order.
I have a shoot and animal companion.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for real. Okay. Lady Vino. She is speed 6. That's scout move. Blink. She will spend this 2 to do a shoot. It is range 12, damage 1. So she unleashes an arrow through the fire.
You hit him and it deals 1 damage. Is that right?
Just deals 1 all damage. And then she's got animal companion as well. Saber or cat. I'm gonna name him Apollo. That is it. That is her 2 actions.
My rogue has focus, which works the same as an overpower, where you combine it. I've got a potion, and I have sabotage. I'm going to run 6 inches to here. It's 2.9, and the potion is range 2, so I actually can't.
He's almost there. Oh,
that
so
makes
close.
more sense that they would be 10 inches apart. Sabotage is only range 2, and because I'm not in range of anything. So the rogue just did some roguish stuff, but
he snuck about.
He's not going to do anything else.
All right, and those are our champions.
Yeah.
Now we go to the curse phase. We resolve the curse dice first, resolve the summon dice second, then we get to do stuff with our creatures.
Since you have initiative, you choose what order they happen in, but the 2s resolve first either way. So
just go straight for it. I set up the bear to be a little bit of a tank, and he just got swarmed by insects. So he takes 1 damage, and he also takes 1 bind.
Which actually is useful because if the bind makes it so he skips a move.
Yeah, and
if he had activated to move, he would have taken damage from the fire.
Oh, so because he's not
because
moving,
he's bound, he won't take damage.
Yeah, it's about moving. He's standing perfectly in the flames right now.
And then we'll do the same here. This is going to shoot there. The water elemental now has 3 endurance and is bound. And then next, it's going to summon a basilisk. You summon it in contact with the doodad and as close as possible to the nearest enemy.
Roger that. So it is coming. The arcane skeletal zombie basilisk.
Yep. He came here to die.
And he did.
But he woke up. Oh my goodness.
He woke up.
He's been slowly dying for the last 300 years, and now he got woken up, and he's like, let me die in peace, and he's going to come and bite my water elemental.
So now we go to creatures move.
Creatures move. So the creatures move in a predetermined way, but with initiative, your creatures move first, and you get to choose what order it is resolved in. This guy moves, and he loses his bind. Spent,
and then my saber-tooth moves.
So he's going to go straight toward my rogue. Apollo, no! And now my guys move. We've got my fire elemental here. He's going to move directly toward you.
Oh no, he's overpowered.
And then my guy's going to try to move, but he's bound.
So he's chilling.
And this guy's going to move. He's speed 5, and he's going to move directly toward and then release. Yes.
Oh gosh, it's literally perfect.
And now we go to the fight step.
The fight. It's time for creatures.
And during the fight step,
creatures and champions fight.
Resolved 1 at a time, alternating between players in initiative order. Starting with the player with initiative, the player chooses one of their own characters or a scenario creature to fight.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna have to go with Apollo here. We'll hit the Grover guy. Just
All right.
that's who he charged, right? So
All right.
he deals 1 point of damage
Grover's
to
down to
him.
5. Right now, I get to choose a guy. I'll just have the fire elemental remove Apollo.
No.
So Apollo is like, youch, and jumps away. You can have the Basilisk bite my water
Yep,
elemental.
he does.
Water element bites back, and the Basilisk is down to 4 endurance. Interestingly, I forgot that Basilisks have a hateful gaze ability. Enemies within 5 inches suffer bind 1. Oh, Grover's
Everyone
okay.
else.
Well, that actually changes my stealing treasure thing. All right, so quickly for the cleanse phase, we reduce term and hate. We only have, so we reduce one of the terms. There's no hate in play. And then move shifting power dice. So you don't have any unspent. We don't have any unspent. You can assign now a color to the shifting power dice you got.
I want to get an additional storms dice. Is that the end of turn 1?
Yep, new power phase. I moved the turn counter to turn 2.
And we are on turn 2 now. And you already rolled your power dice. I have to roll my power dice. 6 power dice now because I harvested one last turn.
Yeah, so no matter what you roll, even if you roll all ones, I'll have initiative.
Because you
'Cause
have
I only have 5
less
dice.
less than I. Okay, let me roll these. See what they got. Not too shab. I got
Yours
some.
did better than mine. My guy fumbled 2 of his 3 dice.
Dang, because he got attacked. He got tackled by a kitty. Dang, she about to unload.
So
Roll
I have initiative, so I gotta go first.
power phase. Yep.
I'm gonna start moving and removing this bind from myself. I was like, wow, that guy's spooky. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm 5.9 inches from the cursed object. So I'm gonna spend my shifting power to steal that die. And then the next thing I want to do is I could do an overpowered great wave or high tide. So I think I'm gonna grab one of these like that. And I'm gonna overpower it so that it is dangerous.
It's just like crazy waves right there, and that blocks line of sight.
Your turn.
My first spell, because I have a Book of Nature 1 here, shifting power. I'm just gonna cast that and harvest this. And I shall be the Cursebreaker and break the curse of the Basilisk skull right here.
Oh my gosh, you broke it?
I broke it. This is when we break a curse.
It turns into a treasure.
Nice. I'm going to do a move action. I'm going to move ever so slightly to get to the wall. It's about half an inch. I'm going to reduce my 5 inches by 2. So I'll be left with 2.5 inches. Boink.
Yep.
Gravity well. Range 8. Move target directly towards.
Oh, that's
think
useful because this is dangerous. Terrain rules, because this is blocking through terrain, you can draw a line of sight to anything while you're on it. Basically, only things that are on opposite sides of it have line of sight blocked to each other. Since you're on it, you aren't all the way through. Whereas this is blocking in that anyone touching it at all or on the other side of it are blocked.
Gravity well. I'll use this target ground token. Trong. And
So it clears the bind from my fire elemental, and Grover gets pulled in.
he gets moved 3 inches, I believe.
And once he touches the wave,
He stops
his
moving,
move
though.
is reduced by 2,
Okay.
but he does take damage because it's a dangerous wave.
Oh, so the gravity well pulled him in.
Poor little buddy. It's okay, Grover.
It was like magical water. All right. And then that's my movement and my 2 spells. I harvested and cleansed the curse, and then I came up here and cast gravity well.
And you can imagine just like this huge terror. This is like not only a huge wave, but a terrifying, dangerous wave. And then suddenly the ground gives and
Beneath
Grover
it.
slides into it. Ouch. All right, I got my second turn, and my 2 spells are another great wave if I want, and high tide, which is rough terrain. I'm going to climb here, so I have 3 left. And so moving directly through
The treasure, you'll pick it
is
up.
enough to pick it up.
I'll do that.
I got a 4, which is Basilisk Scale Cloak. I can ignore the effects of bind now.
That's pretty good.
Interesting. I might put High Tide. High Tide has range 10. So maybe I'll put it here to just cause you grief too. Because then I can
It's
get
range
you
3
and your guys. My last action, I'm going to cast Great Wave.
to
There's
re-up
already
it.
too many in play. So I'm going to a new wall
Yeah, I
right
like
there.
it.
And the term is
Comes
now
back
2
up.
instead of 1.
All right, I'm gonna
Fresh
lock
wall
this one.
blocking your line of sight to me. Because the last thing I need is to get hurt more.
Goes back to me. My first spell, going to cast Indomitable, 4 inches. Endurance +2 on the cave bear. So the cave bear goes to 4. As my first, I'm moving. I'm reduced by 3 for this because of the high tide below. So I'll end my move there, and then I will cast. I'll just cast Storm Saber and just give my dude some like turn 3.
Because you are the closest enemy for the fire elemental. So you are at risk.
All right, that's my turn.
Champion phase. I have initiative, so my rogue goes first. He's got 2 fumble and a hide ability. Gonna start by moving my rogue. He is speed 6, and he's in this rough 2.
So he's speed
So
4.
he's going to be speed 4, and I'm gonna move him 4 inches this way.
This direction. Nice.
And he takes 1 damage. And next, I'm going to here, so he's next to your guy. And then I'm gonna hide. Hiding makes me regarded as friendly.
It says enemy creatures
Oh shoot, it
regard
does.
the
Like,
rogue.
so I can't hide from the wizard. Oops.
No, my dude's too smart.
All right, I'm gonna go over here instead and hide.
My champion. She's got 6. She's got guns this turn, yo. So here and then 1 there. It's a move, and yeah, she's not gonna really be able to use any of these actions. Curse phase,
Oh my
resolve
God.
curse dice.
This is gonna shoot poisonous insects. Oh, don't pick it up. At me at 5 inches, or my water elemental at 4 inches. So
4.
the water elemental takes 1 damage and is dead. And that's the only curse. Now creatures moves toward you. He's speed 5. He moves.
But he immediately reduces it to 3 as soon as he touches this.
Yeah. So he only moves 3 inches. And he takes 1 damage from the big wave. Now your guy tries to move, and
He's bound.
he just loses 1 of these binds. So I'll delete 1 bind. And then this, unfortunately, I was too dumb. I forgot about that. And the basilisk is going to move toward me.
And
He is speed 5, so he's like
2 to the wall.
2 inches to there. 2
2
and
up,
then 1. So that
yeah,
gets him.
he gets
that
him.
gets him
Oh,
right up to
no.
me. All right. And then during the fight step, in initiative order, we choose fight. Before you Storm Saber my fire elemental to death, I'm going to have my fire elemental claw you for 3 damage.
For 3 damage?
Yep, because he's
Oh,
overpowered.
That's ouchied.
And now you choose a creature to fight, but there's only 1 fight. And that is the basilisk biting me for 2 damage. So I'm down
chomps ya.
to the cleanse phase,
And then he summons his spell.
where I get bound.
5, but you don't because you have the cloak on.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes. But we delete a
You
term on
like
this.
you put the
term on
cloak
this.
over your eyes and shield it as he like
term
stares
on
at you.
this. So the wall of flames is gone. The high tide is down to 1. The dangerous wave is down to 1. The blocking wave is down to 1. And that's it.
I strike this guy though, right?
Oh, you're
my
right.
Storm
I
Saber.
forgot. Yeah, he's out.
I fight 3. Oh, get out of here.
Yeah. All right, we made it to turn 3.
Turn 3. Tune in next time for part 2 of Cursebreaker to see what happens.